All right, I just wait for you guys to come on in. What's up, good people? What's going on, good people? All right, guys, thank you for joining. This story has just gripped my heart, and I just kind of wanted to go live and talk to you guys about this story. I'm sure. I think I'm going to have a representative from the husband's side to join soon. But I want to talk about Makayla Fay. I probably will mess up her last name, Byers. I want to talk about this story because actually Annie is here now. She's gonna join, but I'm gonna let you join in a minute, Annie. But Makayla was found dead a couple days ago. She apparently was reported missing, I'm just reading from notes, on September 15th. So she has 6 kids, and they haven't found the killer. This is out of, I want to say, Potawatomi, or probably messing up that name, county. So the story grabbed my heart because she's 30 years old, and she's a mother of 6. And when I posted the story earlier today, I just couldn't believe reading it. Someone actually told me about this story, and I was like, how could this happen? And obviously there are thanks, Daniel. They are having a lot of questions, and people are suggesting and saying things that are not true, that are true. I don't know. Remember, I'm just here objectively. But what I want to do is to bring in Annie Gonzales Berry. She is a friend to the husband. His name is Frank. So let me try to bring her on right quick. Okay. Let's see if I can. See if it's adding. Let's see if she can come on here. Annie, can you hear me?
And
Okay, you can hear me now.
yeah.
Okay, good. All right, cool. So Annie, I want to thank you for joining this live tonight. As you know, I posted about this story about Makayla earlier, and so you thanked me for posting it. You stated that you was a family friend of Frank, which is the husband.
Yes.
And I told you I was going to talk about this, but I wanted to maybe you can kind of introduce yourself to tell everybody who you are in the relationship that you are with Makayla.
So my name is Annie Gonzales. My legal name is Annie Gonzales Berry, but I am a friend of Frank Byers' family, as well as Makayla's. I met Makayla growing up in school. However, we weren't friends back then. I have always been a friend of Frank's, and Frankie has been, one of my best friends throughout the whole school years and everything else, and his whole family is my family. Even though we are not blood related, he is my family. So when him and Makayla had met and they got together and everything else, I was there for all of that.
Okay. So your relationship is with Frank, the husband, correct? Okay.
Yes, but
So
as well as
as
Makayla,
well as
because for
Makayla.
the last three
Yeah.
years, I have got to know her as a human, as a person, as a woman and a mother, and she has been one of my best friends
And
since
one of
then.
the things I want to talk about is that since her disappearance and now she is presumed to be deceased,
Yes,
I mean, she has what, 6 kids? Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. And with those kids, going through this process, how are those kids doing now that they know that their mother is not coming home?
Her four youngest daughters have not been handling it very well. Um, her two oldest kids, not very well. It is it as a person who has lost her mother herself, it is a very extremely hard thing to lose a mother, period. But these six kids have lost way too much,
Okay.
way too much in their short-lived lives, and I don't even know how to even process myself how much they are going through right now. But I do know personally, firsthand, how the four youngest kids are handling it, and it's not good.
Now, Michaela also was a teacher's aide at the Macomb public school system. Is that correct?
Yes,
And she also has, I guess the article is saying she has 4 stepdaughters and 2 adopted kids. Is that correct?
yes, those are
So,
her six.
so when we're talking about the loss of the community, the loss of her children, the community is also affected by this as well because she has students,
Yeah,
have connected with her. Is that correct?
yeah, she has about 20 to 25 students. We weren't fully sure about how many. Yeah, huh? Yeah, everybody loved her. But yes, she has about 20 to 25 students, but we weren't for sure how many they have in that class. But um, as far as we have all known Makayla, everybody, everybody always loved her. There's not a single negative thing anybody can ever say about Makayla.
Good, good. My heart is really going out to your community and your family members because they've lost a mother. They've lost, teacher's aide. They've lost. I mean, she sounds like Michaela was a mother to 6 kids, 4 other stepdaughters, and also 2 other adopted kids.
Yes.
She had a lot on her shoulders. I mean, those kids have to now know that mom is not coming home tonight.
The four younger daughters don't, her four stepdaughters do not really fully understand except for her oldest stepdaughter. Um, which I am going to go ahead and say this, I am not saying any names for their protection, but, um, they, the oldest one is not handling it that well. She's trying to be strong for her younger sibling. She looks at it, she starts crying, and then she stops herself and she's like, "Look, I have to be strong for the others." So
Has the community provided counseling for the kids, or have they? I know this is still fresh. Have they stepped up to say, "Hey, we're going to be there for the kids in counseling"?
as far as I do know on that level, their father has already taken the steps in that process. He has already got them in grief counseling and other forms of therapy for that process.
I got you. Okay. Annie, I was reading the story, and I have questions. To be honest. Um, And basically, the only thing that I have is what the general public has, news stations and things that happen. So, from what I gather, well, I tell you what, not from what I gather, can you tell me what, in your opinion, that you understand that happened to Michaela?
So I can say this much. Um, there, there have been a lot of things being said and everything, but I do know for a fact, and this is for a fact, um, and I legally cannot say due to confidentiality reasons because of how anonymous it was where I had found it out, but they did have an open marriage. So there are so many
That's
people.
already that's already public. Apparently, that's been public already. Apparently, this is what Frank told the police that they had
Yes,
an open marriage.
but,
Correct.
but there are people that are saying that it is not true and all this and that. But at the same time, I know for a fact it is true from Makayla's mouth herself that is true. I just cannot tell the full on details about that because of where and how I had learned that information. I learned it in an anonymous group. It was kind of like a Celebrate Recovery group. So I cannot give that. I cannot give the full story or the full thing that I had heard in that group. However, um, it was said from Makayla's mouth herself that they were in an open marriage, but she went out on a date that night, and it was her first date with this man. I do not know if she had seen other men prior or not yet, but I do know that she did go out on a date with this man. From what I have been told, Frankie had, followed to try and get as much information as he could about it. He had tried to get as much information on the truck, the model, the make, everything.
Oh, you saying he followed the guy when they picked her up?
He followed them outside of his house. He just walked outside to see who she was getting in the car with, because he's still been kind of skeptical about it, as well as she was if he went out on a date with another woman. She would do the same thing. If he went out on a date with another woman, she would stand outside and watch him too, watch him leave too, just so she could make sure she knew what that person looked like.
So I was reading reports, Annie, and from my understanding, they were married and lived separate. This is what the reports are saying.
Yes.
So this is not speculation. This is coming apparently from Frank, the husband, that they lived on a property. Makayla had her own home and Frank had his own home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the new reports basically says that blood was found in Makayla's home and that she had a 22 and that was fired.
Yes. But Makayla liked to go out and shoot her own guns at that point in time. All I know on that is what I got told, even by the news reporter. I didn't know anything about that until the news reporter had talked to me about that. I didn't know anything about that. But the blood splatter, I had been told, even by the police, it was nothing more than a nosebleed amount.
Okay. Just get people caught up here. This is Annie Gonzales, correct? Is that correct, Annie? This is Annie. She is a friend of Makayla's husband and Makayla.
Yes.
But she's known Frank for a long time. So she is the friend of the husband at this time. So Annie, let me ask you this question: what is Makayla's family relationship to Frank at this point?
At this point, I think everybody is just trying to figure out the justice and just trying to figure out what happened. But I also know that when people are grieving somebody, especially over a murder case, they want to point fingers at somebody every time.
Well, and I can kind of understand from a community because the question is there a murderer on the loose? that's what the community is concerned with, and
Yes.
rightfully so. This is there a person that the general community needs to be afraid of, in this situation, that will heinously kill this person, wrap them up in and according to the reports, a blanket, I'm sorry, a rug, and leave them there. So I can understand how the community feels, but what would you say to the community, Annie, at this point?
Don't convict somebody before they've even been, to court or to see a judge or anything. And that had honestly been told by a friend of ours to us. Like, there are people in the community who has just been convicting him or convicting anybody that they can, without the proper authorities, like help on anything or
Now,
investigation.
Annie, you live in the community. Are you concerned that there is a killer on the loose?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I guess you basically are saying that the family is not interacting with Frank. Is that correct?
No, they are. They are. They are actually, the family is actually being very cooperative and helpful and supportive of him as of now. It's just a lot of people that we all went to school with, aren't, but they're trying to be, as of now. Frank, Frankie, as far as he is concerned, he is trying to be the bigger person, and he is trying to, you know, even though the vigil did not go as we had all hoped it would, and they would not let us be there, um, we are not, like, Frankie and his whole side of the family is not trying to stop them from going to the funeral services or anything. So we have all already, like, we've already had apologies coming our way for what happened at the vigil and everything else, but at the same time, the community has just not been great to him. The family is trying, and as I've said before, her family has every right to grieve the way that they are grieving. They have every right to point fingers at whoever they feel like, but I feel like in my own heart, they should try to, I'm trying to figure out a good way, a better way to say this. I feel like they should honestly sit down with Frankie, themselves, and talk with him and understand, or, anybody else who knows Frankie's side, like, and who knows him. I know him. I know him personally. I've known him for many years. He has been one of my closest friends. Yeah. And
So a lot of people, Annie, will ask this question. They would say, "Why are you fighting so hard for Frankie?"
I know, and there has been a lot of questions about it, especially today, because I was seen with him at the funeral home. He is one of my best friends, um, and that's just that. We grew up together. We went to school together. Uh, he knows even my boyfriend. We just spent all day with him. We spent all day with him because he needed people around him, and he knew he could be safe with me and with my boyfriend. My relationship with him is just that. I am his best friend, female wise, and I will always be. I mean, like I have said this to so many people in every situation of this, even the police, until or unless there is hard proof evidence standing in front of me, I can't and I will not believe that Frankie did this.
So if by any chance the investigation comes back that Frankie is charged with the murder, you're still going to stay by his side. Is that what you're saying?
If he is charged with it and they have full proof evidence on it, I'm going to have to sit down and talk with him. I cannot say at this time how I would feel in the future because I don't know.
So let me ask you this question. There was also a story in the press that was saying that they were going through a divorce. Is that correct? Or Makayla wanted to have a divorce. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. They were living in separate houses, and they were living in separate houses, just because of their open marriage and their rules that they and rules and regulations or whatever that they had set up for their open marriage. I do not know.
Well,
I don't.
I gotta push back just a little bit on this. You could say that in Oklahoma, it's just not normal for a husband and wife to live separate, right? Would you agree with that? Right?
I do.
So
I've even told them firsthand. I have told them firsthand. I could never personally myself do an open marriage.
well, I mean, Annie, I'm not even going with the open marriage. I'm just talking about to the point where we need to separate and be in another home separate from each other. It had to have been something that caused that to happen prior
Yes,
to an
and
open marriage.
yes, at this point, I am not sure about that. I don't know what caused it. I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know. As I've said, I don't know all of that information because nobody does. Nobody does. Nobody except for Frankie and Makayla know that.
So I understand that. Frank is being cooperative to the investigators, and apparently through his attorney, he is answering questions necessary. Um, there's two things here. You either have a killer on the loose, or unfortunately, it's close to Makayla that would have done this. Unfortunately, Makayla cannot be here to tell her story.
No, she can't. It's
But I'm having difficulty putting the pieces together, and I know that there's still some pieces that are missing, but I'm having difficulty putting pieces together because from my understanding, Frank was the person who gave the investigators about the open marriage. So I understand that the family didn't know about the open marriage. Is that correct?
yes, but the investigators had asked him several times about their marriage and their relationship. The only reason that he had even been open about that to them really was because of their questioning about him living in a separate house.
Okay. Okay, so her funeral is when?
It's this weekend, Saturday.
It's this weekend and Saturday, and your community is getting together. And I understand that there's a GoFundMe I posted on my page in reference to, and the proceeds goes to who?
It goes towards, as far as I know, it goes towards her 6 kids. Some of it goes towards her 6 kids and the funeral cost. The funeral cost, from what the director was telling us today, is about half of what their goal is, and then the other half is going towards her 6 kids.
Okay. Okay. Well, I do hope that they catch whomever this person is and bring them to justice, because a life is lost, and a mother cannot say goodnight to her kids tonight, and that in itself is heartbreaking. These kids now have to grow up and not have a mother to attend a graduation, not have a mother to do anything for them, to sing them a good night kiss or kiss them good night. They don't have a mother to do that. And, I'm all the way here in Tulsa, and this is breaking my heart. And I know that it's breaking a lot of people's hearts. And I think people just want the perpetrator who did this heinous crime brought to justice. So, Annie,
And that is what we all want. That is what everybody on Frankie's side of the family wants as well. And like I said, I've been a part of Frankie's family for many, many years. So it is it's traumatizing for even everybody on his side of the family as well. Because we all took Makayla into our lives. So, and those kids, I'm sorry, those kids have been the light of her life. So I know, and we all know, and we all want justice. That's all that we want.
Yeah, we all do. And not just justice, we all need the community to support this family, whatever the situation is. You know, they're going to have to support these kids. And I hope that you will use your resources to spread the word and letting them know how important it is, and you know, being there for her kids. Um, so I just want to answer one question here. Susan said that you keep saying her kids. Were they not Frankie's kids too?
They were, um, they were his kids too. Uh, so the thing is Makayla had, you know, she had a miscarriage that, and after that miscarriage, you know, she was afraid she would never have kids of her own. So she became a foster mother to two wonderful children, which they are grown now and everything, but I'm still not going to give their names for protection.
Of course, the
But,
kids.
but she she had adopted them, and then when her and Frankie had gotten together, his four daughters, who, you know, they are still very much involved with their mother on his side and everything. You know, they are still very much involved in her life. But Makayla became their mother as well, their bonus mom. And anywhere they went, they would say, "This is my mom." Anywhere she went, she would say, "These are my kids," you know. So she looked at them as if they were her own, no matter what. All six of her kids were her own. And that's how I will always look at her, is for the mother that she was. As much as I have been involved in their lives for as long as I have, all she has ever wanted to be was a mother.
So
And she finally was with her two old.
did Frankie and her have kids together?
No, no, not biologically, but Frankie's four kids were her kids in her eyes, and in Frankie's eyes, and in all of our eyes.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, Annie, thank you for joining, and we'll be watching the story. Please let me know if there's any breaking news or anything like that, because I think a lot of people are concerned. So hopefully, when you see the kids, please kiss them. Let them know to hang strong, because it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you, Annie.
I will be seeing them sometime this weekend. If not soon, then it will be at the funeral.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Annie. I'll let you go. Okay. Hey, Annie, one more question before you go. How long was Debbie wants to know how long were Makayla and Frank together?
I know that they were married for a year, but before that, I
You said
honestly,
for a year? You said
yes,
1 year?
they were married for about a year or two. But before that, I am not sure, only because of my own personal reasons, I left from everybody.
I have a question. How did they meet?
School. We all met in school. We were all schoolmates. And she had honestly become Frankie's best friend before even I did. He went towards her for everything. Would talk to her about his relationships, his whole life, and then one day they just woke up and said, "Hey, let's be together," and they did.
Gotcha. Well, Annie, thank you. Thank you, and you have a great night. Let us know, okay?
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, guys. You heard it from Annie Gonzales. She is the friend of the husband, Frank. Um, Susan, you guys rightfully have a right to feel the way you feel. I think a lot of times what happens in these situations, we all kind of rush to judgment and we start looking. I've done it. All of us done it. But I guess my heart goes out to these kids because either way, those kids don't have a mother. So we'll watch this story. We will watch it, and we will find out what it is. I'll follow it. So I just want to thank Annie for coming on because I think that's really brave, in a situation like that. However you guys feel about it, I think that's kind of brave to go on and share your feelings and share your thoughts. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining. I'm trying. It's not comical. I'm just reading some of y'all posts. Y'all funny. Let me kind of go back and read some of the stuff because I know I missed some people. Delana, hello. Yes, they had an open marriage. So I will ask this question. Do you now feel better with the knowledge that you have, that we are getting to the bottom of this, or do you have more questions? So I will leave you guys with that. I'm trying to be objective, but again, my focus is these kids because they have to go to bed tonight without a mother. So, and I don't ever want that to happen. Thanks, Cody. I don't ever want that to happen to anyone at all. So, God bless. Y'all have a good night. Share this video for me. I just jumped on here. I wanted to cover this story. It's not gaining a lot of traction, I guess, because it's dealing with kind of rural Oklahoma. But please share this. Please share this. Deb, you have lots more questions. Annie, you're welcome. Thank you, Delana. You guys take care and God bless. Please share this video. I'm pretty sure the police are going to get to the bottom of this. There's a lot of questions. And I'm pretty sure. And 9 times out of 10, they're probably waiting for the funeral to put her to rest before they make statements and stuff of that nature, because that's just the right thing to do, So do me a favor, please say a prayer for Makayla's family, her kids, her mother, her father. Please say a prayer for them. They've lost a loved one. So, they will find that killer. They will find him and they will bring them to justice. God bless. That's all I got, y'all. Peace.